So this chapter starts it's one of the longer chapters. Most of the other chapters have been only a hadith or two. This one's quite a few number hadith. This one's on al-laylu wa nawm, the night and sleeping. The adhkar of the night and sleeping. This first hadith I can pull it down a little bit. Goes on to the next page, that's right. إذا أقبل الليل, إذا أقبل الليل, if the night approaches, basically. إذا أقبل from قبل, right? This form 4 though. Basically, if the night approaches. If the night approaches. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا كان جنح الليل. جنح الليل is used in everyday speech to mean the darkness of the night. But here he says in a footnote, أوله, the إذا كان أول الليل, if it was the beginning of the night. Junhu means darkness or gloom. So if it's the darkness of the night, and the phrase Junhul Layl means the darkness of the night in the cover of the night. O amsaytum, and this would be evidence for what he said here, Junhul Layl. Amsaytum meaning awwaluhu, meaning the first part of it. O amsaytum, amsaytum from masa, like masa'ul khair. Masa'ul khair, masa'ul nur, the evening, the adhkar of the sabah wal masa, like that. Then amsaytum comes from that. Or if the night comes. No, here's Yasin. Or enter the evening. Assalamu alaikum, Yasin. Or if you enter the evening, amsaytum. If the evening comes and you're there and you enter into the evening. Fakufu sibyanakum. Kufu meaning to keep them back. Kaf meaning to keep them back. To hold them back. Here he says in the footnote, amna'uhum min al-khuruj. Prevent them from going out. To prevent them from going out. Sibyan, the plural of sabi, which is your child. Fakufu sibyanakum. Then withhold your children, meaning prevent them from going outside. فَإِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ, for verily the shayateen, the plural of shaitan, تَنْتَشِرُ حِينَئِذٍ. تَنْتَشِرُ from nashara, noon, sheen, ra. تَنْتَشِرُ meaning they spread. Nashara, to spread. Right? تَنْتَشِرُ حِينَئِذٍ. حِينَئِذٍ means at that time. At that time. فَإِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ تَنْتَشِرُ حِينَئِذٍ. For verily the shayateen, they spread around at that time. فَإِذَا ذَهَبَ سَاعَةٌ مِنَ اللَّيْلِ. So if an hour, sa'a, if an hour goes from the night, فَخَلُّوهُمْ. Then let them go. Let them be free. Right? خَلُّوهُمْ. Let them be free. خَلُّ from khala, or khal, really khal, without the shad. Khalwu meaning to be free. خَلُّوهُمْ meaning Give me 1 second. Let me make sure that's correct. Naam. Hello, meaning to let them be free. Min al-layl, I was trying to look for the, is it khal with a shadda or was it khallu with the wow? But it's khal with the wow. Khalluhum, then let them be free. So here we find that our parents, when they used to tell us when the street lights come on, go home, we find they had some basis for what they were saying. Right? But then they should have let us go back outside after an hour, and they didn't do that, right? Yeah, school tomorrow and all that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But إذا كان جنح الليل, if it was the beginning of the night, جنح meaning أول الليل, جنح الليل أو أمسيتم, or you entered into the evening, the مساء, فكفوا سبيانكم, فكف, meaning to withhold, to hold back, سبيانكم, right? And the palm of your hand is called the kef. So you can see where you grab them, basically, right? You hold them, your children. Sibyanakum, meaning, as he said here, amna'uhum min al-khuruj, to prevent them from going outside. فَإِنَ الشَّيَاطِينَ, for verily the shayateen, تَنْتَشِرُ حِينَئِذٍ, they spread around at that time. فَإِذَا ذَهَبَ سَاعَةٌ مِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَخَلُّوهُم, and if an hour of the night goes by, then let them be free. We see here also, ذهب is preceding sa'a. Sa'a is our fa'il, marfu', right? We got a verb, we got our fa'il. And we didn't say dhahabat. The Prophet ﷺ didn't say dhahabat because sa'a is feminine. So, number one, they say two things. There's one, if a sentence begins like that, then you can use the masculine form. If it begins with the verb and you put the verb first, you can use the masculine form and the singular form, even if it's feminine or even if it's plural. So you can say, ذهب الرجل, or ذهب الرجلان, or ذهب الرجال. Or as you see here, ذهب ساعة. But also, they say that unless that item that is feminine is truly feminine, it doesn't matter if you use the masculine or the feminine. So, sa, is it really feminine? No. It's just feminine because of the ta marbuta, or because of the practice that people hear, or people say it. So sa in itself is not feminine, except in its grammatical structure. But haqiqiyan, it's not really feminine. It doesn't have feminine parts, or doesn't lack masculine parts like that. So you can use masculine or feminine with this sa. So ذهب ساعة من الليل فخلوهم. So let them go. This hadith is not finished yet. Any questions to that part?
No.
وَأَغْلِقُوا الْأَبْوَابِ. So the first part we find, bring your children in. فَكَفُّوا سِبْيَانَكُمْ. That's the first rule, right? At nighttime. كَفُّوا سِبْيَانَكُمْ. وَأَغْلِقُوا الْأَبْوَابِ. وَأَغْلِقُوا الْأَبْوَابِ. أغلق from غلق, to close or to lock, right? To close or to lock. More so to close than to lock, but it could be to be locked as well. أغلقوا الأبواب. Close the doors. From bab, abwab, right? Close the doors. وَاذْكُرُوا اسْمَ اللَّهِ, and mention the name of Allah. وَاذْكُرُوا اسْمَ اللَّهِ. وَاذْكُرْ مَاذَا وَاذْكُرْ اسم الله. So it's mansub because it's the maf'ulun bi. What are you mentioning? You're mentioning the name. Right? وَاذْكُرْ اسم الله. Okay. وَأَغْلِقُ الْأَبْوَابِ وَاذْكُرْ اسم الله. And we remember the hadith before that we had about during the food. That if you close your door and say Bismillah, when you enter into your house, you say Bismillah, and before you eat, you say Bismillah. Then the shayateen say, we have no place to stay. La mabita lah, wa la ta'aman lah. There's no food for him, and there's no place to stay for him. So when you close your door in your house, when you enter and say Bismillah, and you close it, you say Bismillah, and that keeps shaitan out. فَإِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لَا يَفْتَحُ بَابًا مُغْلَقًا. فَإِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ, shaitan is mansub بعد إن. لا يفتح, from fataha, to open. لا يفتح بابا. He doesn't open what? He doesn't open a bab. So it's mansub, مفعول به. لا يفتح بابا مغلقا. مغلق is a adjective of bab. So we have baban mughlaqan. He doesn't open a closed door. وَأَغْلِقُ الْأَبْوَابَ وَاذْكُرُوا اسْمَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لَا يَفْتَحُ بَابًا مُغْلَقًا. And close the doors and mention the name of Allah, for shaitan doesn't open a closed door. Any other questions about that part so far? Then he says, وَأَوْكُوا قِرَبَكُمْ وَاذْكُرُوا اسْمَ اللَّهِ. وَأَوْكُوا. Awku comes from waka. Missed the part there. Waka, meaning to tie up. وَأَوْكُوا قِرَبَكُمْ. Tie up. Qiraba. Qirab is the plural of qirba. Qirbatun. Qirba is a water skin. Right? Qirba is a water skin. Qirab is the plural of it. It's mansub here because it's the object of your tying. Awku qirabakum. Right? So it has a fatha there, mansub, maf'ulun bihi. Tie up your water skins, wadhkur ismallah, and mention the name of Allah. So far in this hadith you have three commands. Kuffu sibyanakum, aglikul abwab, wa awku qirabakum. Bring in your children, or withhold your children from going outside. Close the doors and tie up your water skins. Both of the last two, wadhkur ismallah. Then in another rule here, the fourth rule, وَخَمِّرُوا آنِيَتَكُمْ. وَخَمِّرُوا, from khamara, like we know the word khimar. The word khimar. And the word khamar also is called khamar. Alcohol is called khamar because it covers your mind. It fogs your mind. It covers it where you can't think properly. So khimar is the scarf of the woman, part of her hijab. It covers her up. So khammiru, cover up, aniyatakum. Aniya is the plural of ina. If you study fiqh, Dalil al-Talab or Minhaj al-Salikin, Minhaj al-Salikin or something like that, then you will find the Kitab al-Ina or Bab al-Aniya, like this, right? So the root of this is Alif, Noon, Alif Maksura. Ana, you get the plural, or you find the word ina, the noun, and ania is plural, meaning your vessels. Your vessels, your bowls, your cups, your plates, whatever kind of vessels you have, your bowls, your cups, your plates, you want to cover them up. Khamiru aniyatakum. Cover up your vessels. You got a pitcher of water or iced tea or lemonade. You want to make sure it has a cover on it. Wadhkur smallah. Wadhkuru smallah. And mention the name of Allah when you cover it. Walau an ta'ridu alayha shay'a. Walau, even if. Walau means even if. An ta'ridu. Ta'ridu from arada, ain ra, dad, meaning to offer something. Like if you go to the mall and they're having a sale, it's called an ard. Right? It's called an ard. So they're making offers. They're offering stuff at a cheaper price. Lo an ta'ridu alayha shay'an. Even if you offer on it something. Meaning, even if you place something across it, and that's how they translate it, so you have a cup, even if you were to place your miswak over the top of the cup, that you haven't covered it up completely, but even if you put something on top of it, if you take a tissue and put it on top of it, it's not the actual cup for the bowl, it's not the actual plate cover or something, but if you put something across the top of it that you have the ability to do. وَلَوْ أَن تَعْرِضُوا عَلَيْهَا شَيْئًا. And ta'ridu what? If you offer what? شَيْئًا. Mansub, maf'ulun bihi. وَلَوْ أَن تَعْرِضُوا شَيْئًا عَلَيْهَا أو تَعْرِضُوا عَلَيْهَا شَيْئًا. So the fifth rule, right? The fourth rule would be cover up your aniya, your vessels. وَاتْفِئُوا from ta, fa, hamza, meaning to put out. Put out. Masabihakum. Masabih, right, is your lights, your candles. Right? Your lights or your candles or lanterns probably would be better, right? Lanterns, candles, any type of fire that you have before you go to bed, you want to make sure that you put out those fires before you go to bed. وَأَطْفِئُوا مَصَابِيحَكُمْ. Masabih from misbah would be the singular. Misbah from sad, ba, ha, like from sabah, like sabahul khair, the morning, because it's bringing light. Masabihakum. So, watfi'u masabihakum. And put out what? Put out your lights. Masabiha, mansub, maf'ulun bihi. This hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. Tafakun alay. In Bukhari, number 3304, as well as 5623, and it's in Muslim 5250 from Jabir ibn Abdullah. Any questions about this hadith?
Allah. Billah. Billah.
Okay, read it for us then, Abu Tahir. You need me to scroll back up or you got it?
Yeah, I got it. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا كان جنح الليل أو أمسيتم فكفوا صبيانكم فإن الشياطين تنتشر حينئذ فإذا ذهب ساعة من الليل فخلوهم فخلوهم وأغلقوا الأبواب واذكروا اسم الله فإن الشيطان لا يفتح بابا مغلقا وأوكوا كرابكم واذكروا اسم الله وخمروا آنياتكم واذكروا اسم الله ولو أن تردوا عليها شيئا وأدفئوا مصابيحكم
Yalla ya Yasin.
قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا كان جنح الليل أو أمسيتم فكفوا سبحانكم فإن الشياطين تنتشر حينئذ فإذا ذهب ساعة من الليل فخلوهم وأغلقوا أبواب واذكروا اسم الله فإن الشيطان لا يفتح بابا مغلقا وأوكوا قربكم واذكروا اسم الله وخمروا آنيتكم واذكروا اسم الله ولو أن تعرضوا عليها شيئا وأطفئوا مصابيحكم.
Naam. So those are 5 things we should be doing every night, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. And if I'm not mistaken, Sheikh Ubaid says if you leave food out uncovered, then you shouldn't eat it the next day. Somebody said it, I think it was Sheikh Ubaid al-Jabri, but I'm not really sure.
No. Say that again, sorry.
Huh? He said if you leave your food, like if you leave your food out all night and you leave it uncovered, then the next day you shouldn't eat it because you left it uncovered.
Okay.
You know? Because doing all of this is to prevent shaitan from eating from it. So قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الآيتان من آخر سورة البقرة من قرأهما في ليلة كفتاه. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الآيتان من آخر سورة البقرة من قرأهما في ليلة كفتاه. Al-ayatani is the plural of al-aya. Al-aya. Right? The ayah. So the 2 ayats. Min akhiri Surat al-Baqarah. From the end of Surat al-Baqarah. The last 2 ayats from Surat al-Baqarah. Man qara'ahuma. Whoever read them. Huma, them 2. Right? Whoever read those 2. Although in English, I don't think you would say them or them 2. You just say them. Whoever read them. Because in English, we really don't distinguish between 2 and 3. Right? Whoever read them. Fi laylatin, at night. Fi laylatin, in the night. Kafatahu. Kafa. Right? Wa kafa billahi shahida, for example. Kafa, sufficient. Kafata is the dual feminine. Kafa, masculine. Kafat, right? Kafa, masculine. Kafat, feminine. Kafa would be, or kafaya maybe, would be the dual for masculine. Kafata, with that alif there, is going to be the dual for feminine. Kafatahu. meaning they will be sufficient for him. He says in the night, should do no, what does he say here? Kafatahu min kulli shar, meaning they'll be sufficient for him from every evil. Kafatahu, they'll be sufficient for him from every evil, meaning they'll suffice and protect him from every evil. من قرأ أو الآيتان من آخر سورة البقرة من قرأهما في ليلة كفتاه. Then whoever, the last two ayats from Surah Al-Baqarah, whoever recited them, then they will be sufficient for him, meaning from every evil. This hadith is also in Bukhari and Muslim. And it's Bukhari, it's in 4008. And also number 5040. Right? And then it's in Muslim number 1878. From Ibn Mas'ud. Any questions about this hadith?
No.
Yalla ya Yasin, read it for us.
قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الآيتان من آخر سورة البقرة من قرأهما في ليلة كفتا.
Yeah, there you go. Yalla ya Abu Tahir.
قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الآيتان من آخر سورة البقرة من قرأهما في الليلة كفتا.
طيب. The next hadith is from the Adhkar of Noam. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا أويت إلى فراشك فاقرأ آية الكرسي الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم فإنه لن يزال عليك من الله حافظ ولا يقربك شيطان حتى تصبح. This hadith, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا أويت from أوى, right? It's similar to do with your intention. If one of you intends to go to bed, but here it means to seek, but awa really means to seek refuge or to seek shelter. So إذا أويت إلى فراشك, meaning if you intended to go to bed, and if you sought refuge in your bed, if you sought shelter in your bed, not from a harm, but just not seeking shelter or refuge like you're scared, but if you're, although the word can be used for that, here it just means if you intend to go to bed, if you're looking to go to bed. إذا أويت إلى فراشك. Firash is your bed. Firash is your bed. إذا أويت إلى فراشك. If you sought refuge in your bed. If you sought shelter in your bed. فقرأ. Here it's a command. اقرأ. Not فقرأوا, right? But فقرأ. He's saying then recite. It's a command. Doesn't mean that it's an obligation. There are commands which are commands of recommendation, and this is here. But it's a command in the Arabic grammar sense. فقرأ. فقرأ ماذا؟ فقرأ آية الكرسي. So آية is mansub, maf'ulun bihi. Read what? Read the ayat of the kursi. Ayat al-kursi, Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 255, of course. Right? Kursi. What's the meaning of kursi?
Footstool.
Footstool. Most of us know Ayatul Kursi to be the ayat of the throne, I believe. That's how we learn it in English, right?
Yeah, or chair.
Yeah. But really, the Kursi is Mawdi al-Qadamain, the place of the 2 feet, right? That's what Ibn Abbas said about it, right? The footstool. Ayatul Kursi. Allahu la ilaha illahu al-hayyul qayyum. Allah, there's nothing worthy of worship except Him. Al-hayy, the ever-living. Al-qayyum, the self-subsisting. So read this ayah. فَإِنَّهُ لَنْ يَزَالَ عَلَيْكَ مِنَ اللَّهِ حَافِظًا. حَافِظٌ. فَإِنَّهُ, then verily it, لَنْ يَزَالَ, يَزَال from زَوَّلَ, meaning to cease, as we heard before, to cease. لَنْ يَزَالَ, it doesn't cease to, عَلَيْكَ, on you, مِنَ اللَّهِ حَافِظٌ. This is the what doesn't cease. Hafidun, this goes back to innahu, right? There does not cease to be a protector, or it does not cease to be a protection for you from Allah, right? Hafidun, a protector, a guardian, hafiz. فَإِنَّهُ, and here we're talking about an ayat, talking about masculine, right? But ayat is feminine, but we're talking about here in the masculine form, the masculine manner. فَإِنَّهُ لَنْ يَزَالَ عَلَيْكَ مِنَ اللَّهِ حَافِظ. For verily it does not cease to be upon you from Allah a protector, or does not cease to be a protector from Allah upon you. وَلَا يَقْرَبَكَ شَيْطَانٌ حَتَّى تُصْبِحَ. وَلَا يَقْرَبَكَ, يَقْرَبَكَ from qareeb, qaf, ra, ba. And shaitan will not come close to you. Yaqrab, come close. Wala yaqrabaka, and it won't come close to you. Shaitan will not come close to you. Hatta tusbiha. Tusbiha is mansoob ba'da hatta, and we're going to learn that in a couple days, inshallah. Wala yaqrabaka, and shaitan will not come close to you. Hatta tusbiha, meaning until you wake up. Tusbiha, until you wake up. This hadith is in Bukhari, number 3275. No, that's wrong. 3275. Right, from Abu Hurairah. Any questions? Read it for us, then Abu Tahir.
قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا أويت إلى فراشك فاقرأ آية الكرسي الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم فإنه لن يزال عليك من الله حافظ ولا يقربك شيطان حتى تصبح.
نعم. يلا يا ياسين.
إذا أويت إلى فراشك فاقرأ آيات الكرسي الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم فإنه لن يزال عليك من الله حافظ. Sorry, I'm just going to scroll down a bit on my phone.
No problem.
حافظ ولا يقربك شيطان حتى تصبح.
Did you go to the bookstore yet and get the actual book?
I haven't. It's actually pretty far from the house, but I need to make that journey, wallah.
Man, you came from Canada. How can something in Jeddah be far, man?
Good point, wallah.
You know, Kuwait.
Now
You know, Kuwait is small, and they always say something's far. I'm like, well, I came from America, man. Ain't nothing far in Kuwait.
that's a good point. That's a good perspective to have, wallah.
and then something happens, I'm like, that's too far, man. Subhanallah. Allah Akbar. كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا أوى إلى فراشه كل ليلة جمع كفيه ثم نفث فيهما فقرأ فيهما قل هو الله أحد وقل أعوذ برب الفلق وقل أعوذ برب الناس. I'll stop right there until we flip the page, inshallah. كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا أوى إلى فراشك كل ليلة جمع كفيه ثم نفث فيهما فقرأ فيهما قل هو الله أحد وقل أعوذ برب الفلق وقل أعوذ برب الناس. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would, كان النبي إذا أوى إلى فراشه, if he sought refuge in his bed, or if he intended to go to bed, right? If he sought shelter in his bed, كل ليلة, every night he would. So every night when he intended to go to bed, he would say, or he would جمع كفيه, جمع to gather or to bring together. كفيه, kaf, his hands, his palms, right? He would bring his palms together. كفيه, kafan, right? The two palms, but then when it's made mansub, because it's the object of what he brought together. What did he jama'a? Jama'a kafan. But really we would say then, like we would say, if we were to say, for instance, rafa'a would be the same thing as jama'a. Rafa'a kaffa. And we would put a fatha there, because it's mansub. He would raise what? Raise his kaf. It would be mansub. Here it's mansub, but it's with a ya. Because when something is dual, we put the alif noon when it's marfu'. So we have kafun with the tanween, and then when we want to make it dual, we say kafan. So the dhamma is replaced with the alif noon here, or it's really replaced with the alif, right? The dhamma here, the alif is taking its place. And then when it becomes kaffa, like in rafa kaffahu, it's the fatha is replaced with the ya. Okay? The fatha is replaced with a ya. So we say kaffayhi. And then I'm trying to add 5 more minutes here. Finish this hadith. Like I said, I think I need to somehow recalibrate my pen. So kaffayhi, we said when we have kaffain and then plus he, whenever we have something dual or plural which has a noon in it, and then it's added to a pronoun, right? Becomes mudaf ilayh rather. When it becomes mudaf ilayh, then we will drop the noon. So kaffayhi. Kaffayhi. It should be kaffaynahu, but we drop the noon in mudaf ilayh. We drop that noon, so it becomes kaffayhi. ثم نفث, then he joined his two palms, jama'a kaffayhi, he joined his two palms together. ثم نفث فيهما, نفث meaning to spit, but not to hawk and spit, but we know meaning to, like that. When you got something like use a wooden toothpick and you got a piece of it stuck on your like it breaks up a little bit. You got a piece you feel like it's on your tongue or a miswak or something. You like that. Nafatha. Right? Nafatha fihima. He does that little spittle in them. فَقَرَأَ فِيهِمَا, and then he reads into them. فِيهِمَا, he reads in them. He reads in them. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ وَقُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. And he reads the last 3 surahs of the Quran. ثُمَّ يَمْسَحُ بِهِمَا مَا اسْتَطَاعَ مِنْ جَسَدِهِ. ثُمَّ يَمْسَحُ, from masaha, meaning to wipe. Masaha, meaning to wipe. As al-masih, Isa is called al-masih because he used to wipe the blind people's eyes, wipe their skin like this, right? Also, al-masih al-dajjal, they say he's going to wipe the earth, how fast he's going to move across it, like he's wiping it. Yamsahu. ثُمَّ يَمْسَحُ بِهِمَا, then he would wipe with them. بِهِمَا, with them. مَسْتَطَاعَ, what he is able to do. Mastata, what he is capable of, as much as he is able to do, min jasadihi, from his body. He would wipe them as much as he was able to do from his body. Yabda'u bihima, yabda'u, from bada'a, ba, dal, hamza. Yabda'u, he began, bihima, with them, ala ra'sihi, on his head. Ra's, his head. Wa wajhihi, and his face. Wajh, his face. But then we add another ha there. Wajhihi. Wa wajhihi. And his, so he begins. Yabda'u bihima ala ra'sihi wa wajhihi. And he begins with them too, on his head and his face. وَمَا أَقْبَلَ مِنْ جَسَدِهِ. وَمَنْ أَقْبَلَ, and we said at the beginning, أَقْبَلَ here, in the beginning of this chapter, was about إِذَا أَقْبَلَ اللَّيْلِ, if the night approaches. So whatever he could, whatever he approached from his body, whatever he could reach, basically whatever he was able to reach from his body, مِنْ جَسَدِهِ. يَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ ثَلَاثَ مَرَّاتٍ. يَفْعَلُ, from فَعَلَ, he did that. He did that. Thalatha marrat, 3 times. And we say thalatha without the ta marbuta, because marra is feminine. So whenever we have 3 to 9, the number contradicts the thing which is numbered. So if we have 3 marra, then we're going to use the masculine form without the ta marbuta. Add 3 something that was masculine here, then we would use it with the ta marbuta. The 3 to 9, the adad yukhalif al-ma'dud. It contradicts or opposes the thing which is numbered. This hadith is from Aisha radiallahu anha in Bukhari 50:17. 50:17 in Bukhari from Aisha. Any questions?
For the spitting, you do that you start over every time you recite 3 surahs.
Yes, you spit into your hand every time you do the surahs. Yes. Jama'a, he says, Jama'a kaffayhi. He gathered his 2 hands. Wa nafatha fihima. Then he spit into them, and then he recited in faqara'a fihima. Then he recited into them the surahs. Then he wiped his body, right? ثُمَّ يَمْسَحُ بِهِمَا مَا اسْتَطَاعَ مِنْ جَسَدِهِ. Okay. After he wipes, his hands are no longer together. So then he's going to jama'a kafayhi maratan ukhra thumma nafatha fihima, like that, right? So once he gathers his hands together, then he's going to spit in them again, then read in them, and then wipe. وإياكم. Read for us, Abu Tahir.
كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا أوى إلى فراشه كل ليلة جمع كفيه ثم نفث فيهما فقرأ فيهما قل هو الله أحد وقل أعوذ برب الفلق وقل أعوذ برب الناس ثم يمسح بهما ما استطاع من جسده يبدأ بهما على رأسه ووجهه
كان النبي
وما
صلى الله عليه
أقبل من
وسلم
جسده
إذا أوى إلى
يفعل
فراشه
ذلك
كل ليلة
3
جمع
مرات
كفيه ثم نفث فيها
نعم يا
فيهما
سيد.
فقرأ فيهما قل هو الله أحد وقل أعوذ برب الفلق وقل أعوذ برب الناس ثم يمسح بهما ما استطاع من جسده يبدأ بهما على رأسه ووجهه وما أقبل من جسده يفعل ذلك 3 مرات. جزاك الله خير. Thank you.
Naam. Inshallah, we'll stop here today and pick up tomorrow. Allah yubarak fikum.
فيكم بارك الله.
وإياكم. See you guys tomorrow. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم